Hello and welcome to DCP SideQuest episode 183. I just looked that up like literally 2 seconds ago. That's the only reason I remembered it.
Shocking. So unlike you.
I am trying to address audio issues. We'll see if
It
that
sounded
happens.
like you said you were going to say you were drunk.
I am.
Said I am trying.
I'm drunk.
Maybe he is.
He's gonna be great.
Trying.
It'll be fine.
It's all right.
Yeah, so in chat, if anybody says somebody is louder than anybody else, please let me know. If not, we'll just continue on our merry way, not doing anything. I have been on a path. I think I mentioned it during DCP last week.
Like a warpath?
Sort of. Yeah, a little bit.
Huh?
I got this arcade stick for the Xbox because, just to do a review on it, right? It's like I just wanted to do a review. I just wanted to try this thing out. So I just started like buying Xbox games that take arcade sticks, which are mostly fighters. And I have got, look at the stack of games that I've been playing. It's like, it's too many games for any person.
Oh
to
my
play,
goodness.
right? It's like,
yeah,
it's like mostly I'm just like capturing some video on them. But what's incredible to me is that you could just throw in like an Xbox 360 game into an Xbox Series X and you've got 4K video, HDR. Like, it looks so good. It's unbelievable. The Xbox Series X, I've been sleeping on it, honestly.
Yeah. You have the X then. Nice.
Yeah. But I mean, the Series
never...
S does the same thing. It just doesn't do that 4K, right?
Yeah. It's funny you mention that because Quake 2, if you saw QuakeCon, I don't know if that was on your list today, but they enhanced it. They brought back like, brought back, but for the first time playable N64 Quake 2 stuff is now in it. They enhanced to 4K, 120 hertz on, no doubt, Xbox Series X. And, and so that was happening. And then also Red Dead Redemption is being ported to Switch and PS4. But it all made me think of how, like, if you had stuff on Xbox, like Red Dead Redemption, there's a reason that you don't hear about it coming to Xbox, because you could already play Red Dead Redemption. And Quake 2 is on Game Pass as well. So, yeah, I mean, heck of a system.
Yeah.
They're doing a great job.
That Red Dead Redemption story is picking up quite a lot of steam because they're really releasing that thing kind of just as like a straight port from the Xbox 360 version. Like, onto the current generation Xbox.
What are they calling it? They're not calling it a remake or a redo. They're doing
resale.
like a
reprint.
I can't remember what they called it because that team specifically was like, we have no interest in just doing like straight ports, right?
Yeah, and then we want to do that GTA collection.
Yeah, and then they're like, well, this isn't a remake. This is a.
I mean, it's funny because it is just a port, right? So it's it's a 13-year late. Well, not late on Switch, but you get the idea. It's just a port, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Helvetica chat said, give me your money.
Yeah, give me your money.
But
give me.
Like, if you played all the way through Red Dead, I get is it Red Dead Redemption 2, the newer one? Is that what it was called? Okay. So you play through the original game, a lot of the scenery was rebuilt for that. So a lot of people were kind of thinking, well, like, you're halfway there. You got all that scenery built. You got a game engine. Why don't you just like port like the old story into the new game, and then we can play it that way. But like, this doesn't look like any different than just getting an Xbox 360 copy for, I don't know, $4 on eBay or at like GameStop or something, and then putting it in your Xbox Series S or X. And
you could, to my earlier point, you could just, if you didn't have like an older Xbox, you could buy that instead. To your point, and just go maybe for almost the same price, so you can just play it on that.
Well, they're charging $50 for it, for the new one.
Yeah.
You also do get Undead Nightmare included in there.
The DLC.
Which is like but yeah, it is you could get Remnant 2 for that price.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't catch that part about the team had said they didn't want to do.
Yeah, that was a few years ago.
Really?
I think
it was a few years
like
ago,
CEO or something.
Well, what was interesting is that I think Strauss, the CEO, Take-Two CEO, right? I had an interview, a short one with IGN, and said that I'll pull up the quote, but it was effectively dodging the question of what was it? It was, let me double check it, but it was about porting stuff and basically saying like, yeah, we're not really, we want to do things that the teams are inspired to do, was roughly the gist of the comment. And so
Yeah.
that seems at odds with but yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I mean, it's a port. It's not on these systems, so it is nice for those people to be able to have access to.
Yeah.
It being $50 though, I think that is very subjective. Nintendo does this every day, by the way.
Yes, they do. But they're
a lot of companies do,
so we don't criticize.
And I mean, I bring this up that I honestly don't know how I feel. Red Dead Redemption is an incredible game. I do defend very often that because it's old, has it lost its value? And for some people it has, right? To your point, they're like, yeah, I want the graphics, I want whatever. But although it is in some ways an obvious money grab, at the same time, I'm always, as you've heard, I'll defend really good quality products and go ahead and sell them for, I guess it's probably a little less than what it was, not by much at $50, but yeah, I want more of these games. And if that's part of the process, for $50, Red Dead Redemption, if you've never played it, it's totally worth it. Obviously, if you could pay less, it'd be great, but not because of the quality of the content. and that's my point. Not because of the quality of content, though.
Strangely, not coming to the PlayStation or PC.
That's what I was trying to say. It's not coming to PC, and that's what the comment was that Strauss made about dodging the question. I'll pull up the quote, but
isn't it already on PC? Red Dead Redemption 2?
The first one.
The two is, but not the
first. Okay, not the first.
Yeah. Okay. Which is crazy, though. I had the same sort of reaction. I'm like, wait, really?
And then now currently, Red Dead Redemption 2 is $60 on Steam.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, but see, that is the point. I honestly, I don't have a problem with the fact that it's an old game. I always bring up Nintendo games, actually, because they do this all the time. But then I'll be like, yo, Super Mario Galaxy is a killer game. So is Super Mario Galaxy 2. I got no problem with paying, full price as long as the game still performs great. And
if people are still paying it, then they
exactly
full price, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not until people stop buying it, then you're like, maybe we should reduce the price a little. And
but even then, they don't have to if they don't want. And that's sort of the point, is what is the value of the product you make? And then also, what is the money being, used for? That's where it always gets complicated. You want them to start a new studio, or you want them to not? I brought up this type of stuff about Metroid Prime Remastered and the price on that. And I was like, yo, if you want to wait 20 years again?
No.
The price is subjective. So again, I'll say that. Some people are like, dude, this guy's crazy. Why are you defending the suits? At the same time, I'm saying I don't want to wait 20 years for another Metroid Prime Remastered. So I had no problem paying I think it was a $50 game as well or something. So
confirmed.
It's a whole new remake. Yeah.
It's true, though. And it's a touchy subject. That's why I thought it'd be good to point out. But subjectively, as long as the quality of it's great, and you get on, it's not the same as when you go to see Oppenheimer in IMAX and it's just fresh out the gate, the technology is current, hopefully, etc. I paid $24 for that ticket or something, and I'm more than happy to do it. Then when I get home, you're right, I probably don't want to pay $24 to rent it on my TV or to buy it, because I'm not getting the same experience. And that is different than this, is my point, right? Just because the game is old, I got no problem, as long as the quality's there.
I hear you, except the reason I disagree is because I could just go buy an old copy of this and have the exact same experience.
But you already own an Xbox, is what you're saying, right?
But you can only play this on an Xbox. That's the only version they're making, is the new Xbox version.
No, but I mean, it's coming to PS4 and Switch. So if those
yeah, it's coming to Switch, but it's not coming to PS4.
Yeah.
Oh wait, it is coming to PS4. You're
it
right,
is.
You're right.
Yeah. See, and that is the point here, right? Is if you already own the console, it's not a problem for you, and you probably already played it. But because it's on Switch and PS4, it's fresh user base. So yeah, I mean, honestly, do you guys think it's a ripoff to sell it for $50?
I won't be buying it.
That's fine if you do. I mean, subjective. But because of the price,
I won't be buying it because it's on the Switch, and I don't want to play the Switch. and I played it already.
Exactly. You've already played it. And that's what I've already played it too.
I can understand if people are like, if maybe if I was traveling soon and I was like, I want a meaty game for this long plane ride, I'd be like, I might jump into Red Dead Redemption 2 again. It's a ton of game. It's a good game. It'd be great on a plane.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. Because I've already played it, I'd be down with that. But again, like price-wise, Watts, do you have problems when games are older and it's still $50?
Generally, no, I'd say. I think it all comes down to what people are wanting to pay, right? That's what everything is priced at. Things are priced at a thing that people are willing to pay. So
that's what I was asking. What do you want to pay? Like, honestly.
Well, I don't know, because I don't like Switch games and I don't want to play Red Dead Redemption. So I'd pay $2. I wouldn't even pay $2. I wouldn't even want it in my library.
This is content I was looking for. I'm glad that I asked.
I don't want your dirty Switch
I have
games in my home.
I have no interest.
I will pay.
I have a Steam Deck. I can play.
Take it out of my house.
I can play Remnant 2 on Steam Deck right now, and it's $50. And it's a brand new game that has just as many, if not more, hours available in there on replayability, and it's getting DLC and and I can play that on my Steam Deck. I can play it on a handheld.
Yeah, which is nice. But yeah, for real, for me, it's a stigma. Because people ask me all the time, it's day one for Remnant, right? And people will show up to your chat, right? Watch, is this game worth it? And I'm always like, that is so subjective. But I know what you're
subjective.
Like, one, do you have the money? Are you rich? Because if you are, stop asking me, is it worth it? You see what I'm saying?
You have to rob a liquor store to pay for this game.
Yeah. Is this the only... Yeah. Is this the only game that you can buy this year? Like, legitimately, and those are other people. So...
Yeah, generally I'll try and talk about like how much playtime do you get for that price, right? And I think in the case of Red Dead, there is a lot of playtime there. If you haven't played that game before, $50 for that large of a game is not bad. It's not a bad price at all, regardless of whether it's old or not.
Yeah. See, I'm all about that quality. It's like getting a small but incredible 5-star gourmet, experience, right? Like there's not like a ton of food, but holy cow, the quality and the experience. And I'm always more on that side. Like this was coming up because I think Ratchet and Clank was getting some flack about as well, like price, and some people were like, well, you can beat it in 12 hours. I was like, awesome.
Oh yeah, but it's
sign me up. Hours. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my conversation about like price to playtime is, like you said, Fran, if this is the only game that you can afford to buy this year, you're probably going to want a game that you have many hours in.
Like Remnant could be amazing.
Hours was important to me when I was young and I didn't have money for games, right? It's like I was more likely to buy a game that I thought would take up a lot of time than I was to buy a game that I thought, for instance, like you remember like scrolling beat 'em ups like Streets of Rage or TMNT, like those games I would rent. I wouldn't buy them because I knew that I'd beat them really quick and then I'd get bored of them quickly. But like give me like Phantasy Star 4 and I knew it was going to take me, 20, 40 hours to get through it. I was much more likely to purchase that game.
Yeah. Yeah, and Watts like really nailed it with that thought right there too. Is like it if the factor as well is like you have no choice but to choose a game that you get more replay value out of. You may want Ratchet more than anything. It might be your favorite franchise, and you're thinking, I'm gonna buy this game for this year. It's the only thing, and you're like, but I'm hearing it's like 12 hours. I'm like, I can actually wait. And in my case, I don't have the money. That's it. So I'm like, I'm gonna wait till it's on sale, but not because I don't want it. And instead, I'm going to get Remnant because I heard that's going to be like 500 hours for me because I'm going to replay everything. And exactly.
Less furries, though.
So subjective. Furries and Ratchet?
Are there any furries in Remnant? Any at all?
Yeah, you can have a pet dog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But is it like a walking, talking dog?
You can pet it.
Can pet the dog.
I mean, if you're talking furry stuff, you want to play Baldur's Gate so you can have sex with them.
I'm on it.
Yeah.
I was going to play it today, but
true.
I had other things I had to do. I was going to play it today. I've been wicked addicted to Street Fighter 6 again, but all weekend I was meaning to download Baldur's Gate and start playing it. I wanted to, but
nice.
There's so many games. There's so many games.
Yeah, there's so many games.
Yeah,
I like that. I kept bringing up Pikmin on the podcast, and I've continued to play it on I was traveling over the last week, and Briar's like, yeah, I had to check that out. And then he shows up to the next show with a stack of like old games and a new controller, and he's like, I'm addicted to Street Fighter 6 still. And I'm like, Brian, you're not kidding anybody. You were never going to play either Baldur's Gate or Pikmin. It's not going to happen.
I'm going to play both of those games eventually.
You did. He doesn't say this year, you'll notice, which is super important because I say that stuff all the time too. Well, I'm definitely playing that game, but I might be, 72 years old.
I played all the way through Mortal Kombat 9. I played all the way through Mortal Kombat 10 and played all the way through Mortal Kombat 11 this weekend. Well, last week, really.
Wow.
But I mean, those are only like 4 hours each. The story modes.
You're getting prepped for Mortal Kombat 1. I take it.
Exactly.
That's
Mortal Kombat 12,
that's pretty sweet.
as I like to call it.
I respect that. Mortal Kombat 12 or that. You refuse to call it 1, huh?
Look, everybody keeps doing this. They make the internet like an unsearchable, awful like hellscape.
That's true.
So stop doing this. If it's number 12, just call it fucking number 12. It's not Mortal Kombat 1. You already did just Mortal Kombat. Look, I have it right here.
But there's no Mortal Kombat 1.
It's called Mortal Kombat.
But it's not Mortal Kombat 1.
But how do you Google Mortal Kombat?
That's new.
That came out in 1992.
Wait,
you call it
Mortal Kombat?
It's Mortal Kombat.
Wait a minute. Was Mortal Kombat 9 called Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, look.
I don't remember that happening.
Here, look.
Yeah, that's
so. Wait, it went Mortal Kombat 8, and then they already did the
no. There is no
standard...
Mortal Kombat 8. It's like Mortal Kombat Deception or like
right.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I can't remember
or something like that.
Right.
I don't know.
You're right. It's impossible, and it's really hard when you start making those S tier lists, man. Then you get very confused at what came out.
Which game is better, Fran? Mortal Kombat, or Mortal Kombat 1?
Here's my solution. It's not good for marketing, probably, but put the year huge on the box. So that was like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
When was that? 2016 or something?
Yeah.
But that would be great. And then as soon as I look at it, and it's the same as like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, 2023. That's what I say. Every time I write it that way because it's confusing as frick.
Yeah. Here's another one. Killer Instinct.
Put it on the box.
Just call it Killer Instinct. We can't call this Killer Instinct 3. It's the third Killer Instinct game.
Oh, you? Yeah, it's complicated.
Fighters seem to have this.
Yeah, fighters seem to be one of the biggest defenders out there, though. So
they do seem to be.
Capcom.
I hope they
do it. Although they did.
Yeah, I hope if
they did Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite instead of 4. So.
But did they use like
Marvel vs. Capcom?
Did they use the I and the? There's no V, but they could have made maybe Infinite like 4.
Oh yeah, that would have been cool. Kind of like a Resident Evil.
Just like Resident Evil, exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
You got it.
Speaking of Street Fighter 6 real quick, last week we were talking about how they added the Ninja Turtles like costumes.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. I don't think we knew what the pricing was going to be.
We did not.
It turns out that they are charging $15 for each individual costume for your in-game avatar. So if you want to buy them all, there is no like one price to buy them all. So you got to buy them all individually. So it's costs just as much as the game to buy all the Ninja Turtle costumes. Plus, like you got to buy you can buy other stuff too. So it's $60. I thought that was a little excessive. I don't know. That might be a lot of licensing to Nickelodeon for
maybe.
But you'd think that
you big.
What's up?
Are you a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan?
I love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Who doesn't like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? They're the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Great.
Well, then we can talk about a happy announcement to do with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Shoot.
There was a THQ Nordic showcase. And at that showcase, they showed off a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game.
Last Ronin?
Mm-hmm. So, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin.
This isn't the first time they've announced it, is it? Because
I believe it is. Is it? Is it not?
I think they had teased it, but they never showed anything. Or
well, they still haven't showed anything. So,
well, good point. I mean, they showed something, but they didn't show anything.
They showed candles going out until there was one final candle.
It's just you're right. I I think they had already talked about the title, but they hadn't talked about, I don't think, platforms or any of these details. Like, I don't even know if the
I think they said it's still
there.
a few years out. It's based on a 2020 comic book miniseries.
Don't read it, though. Spoilers.
Oh, we know.
You'll ruin the game.
The studio is Black Forest Games, and they're most notable for remaking Destroy All Humans and Destroy All Humans 2.
Oh, really? So they don't have any like new games to their credit?
I don't know.
Okay.
I can take a look at their catalog, but if that's their most known,
believe it. I mean, that's still good though. Those were, I recall,
Fade to Silence, Rogue Stormers, Gianna Sisters Twisted Dreams. So that's it.
Okay.
That's all I got.
This game, like the vibe of this game looks cool. I could have sworn they were making a movie out of it because I've never heard of the comic book, but I knew about this property. It must be because they previously teased it, and then like I looked into it a little bit because when I saw this, I'm like, oh yeah, they're making a game out of this. Sweet. Aren't they making a movie out of this too? And I don't think they're making a movie out of it. It's just the game. But it looks cool. It looks like a cool property. Like the setup is like there's one Ninja Turtle left, and he goes on this like, quest for revenge.
Going for revenge. Yeah.
Somebody made that turtle soup. You're gonna regret it. You're gonna regret
the premise is definitely sounds fun.
Yeah, it looks really grim dark and like cool.
Yeah, that Mutant Mayhem movie is already in theaters, right? I had heard good things about it.
Yeah, that looked cool.
Yeah.
I got confused.
Cool look to it.
I thought similarly when I saw this. I was like, "Wait, is this like the movie?" And it's like, no, they're totally different storylines, I believe. But it's a good time to be a TMNT fan,
right?
It is. It really is.
Donatello all the way. Sorry, shout out to my boy Donnie.
He's a cool guy.
Who is the best? Do you have a favorite Ninja Turtle?
Donatello.
I do. It's Donatello, of course. I don't know if Watts. I mean, you're wearing purple Watts. You should just go with Donatello.
Sure.
No comment.
I mean, not really, but
I know it's hard to pick. They're all so cool.
Raphael is my favorite.
She knows the internet too well. She's like, man,
Raphael is my favorite.
Put out that favorite.
Cool as well.
Gonna blow over mentions.
They're all cool except for Leonardo. He's a cop.
Narc.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, big time.
I do want to see that movie. I didn't realize it's out yet. I'll probably wait.
It is
indeed. Home video anyway. What's it called? Mutant Mayhem.
Time to do a little Turtleheimer.
The last two were not bad. Like they weren't great, but they were like kind of like fun. They weren't as good as the live action one back in the day, where the guys were in like the turtle suits. You remember those?
Yeah, of course.
There was pictures on the internet put of those suits and how they look like modern. They did not hold up well. Those suits didn't. Those foam rubber suits degraded poorly. And they're terrifying to look at now.
Yeah. They must smell awful.
What else we got?
On Friday, I checked out a new game that came out.
I wanted to ask. Yeah.
Atlas Fallen.
Oh, yeah.
Is it worth it?
This will be a hard question to answer.
Everybody wants to know. Is it worth it?
It's another $50 game, so it's not your full price game. For people who don't know, the studio who made the Surge 2, Deck 13. This is their first kind of open world game that they're doing, and the combat's definitely very different. It's not a Souls game. I think it's kind of I don't know if you guys remember the game Prototype.
Oh yeah, I like that game.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of Prototype.
Huh.
Yeah, it reminds me of that.
It's also worth noting, it's funny that Lords of the Fallen is coming out, and they did way back the original before the Surge.
They did do the original OG Lords of the Fallen.
To do with the new one, which they did Atlas Fallen, to your point. It's really interesting timing, but
it is very interesting, yeah. But this is a game that it's set in like the sand, and you can glide on the sand. You're like skateboarding or rollerblading on the sand, which is very fun. The open world is they let you go anywhere. Like you have double jumps and dashes and all that stuff to get all over the world. So it's a pretty fun sandbox to run around in and just explore different places on the map. The combat has like a part break system, kind of, I guess you could say similar to Monster Hunter, where when you're fighting an enemy, it'll tell you on the top left which parts you have to destroy to kill the monster, and then which parts are optional, but they will give you more drops or a higher chance of getting a good drop. So I do enjoy that. I like that, targeting different parts. The game it's getting real mixed reviews, and I totally understand why, because it kind of all hangs on, do you really like the combat? Is the exploration fun for you? And if your answer to those things are then there's nothing really there from the game, because the story doesn't seem to be that crazy. The voice acting is like, okay. There is the Drifter in the game, which was nice. Okay. He's in there, so his voice acting is great.
Bet I won't trust him in that game either.
He is a merchant.
I bet he is. Merchant of lies.
It's it's interesting. I actually really enjoyed my time with it. I didn't put a ton of time into it. It was like 3 hours, I think. So I would like to play more. But the combat is fun. Exploration is fun. It's a full RPG, so you can customize everything. They've even got like transmog for armor, which I always appreciate. There's even dyes for armor, so you can change the way it all looks. There's different weapons that you get. There's upgrades that you find. When you defeat a boss, you get their ability, which you can use. So there's a lot there that I really, really, really like. It's just mixed feelings with the story, pretty much. So it's fun. I think it's fun. It's also co-op. It's co-op with one other person.
Oh yeah, if you would like the co-op was really cool.
The co-op is pretty cool. The way that they handle it is they will essentially, the TLDR is that they'll scale you up or down depending on which world you're going into. And then when you disconnect and end your play session, you can choose to save everything, like all the progress. Or if you're, say, you want to go and do that part of the story yourself, you can just save the items that you got, but not the story progress. So the way that they're handling is pretty cool. It gives you a lot of options for how you want to do it.
I think I read that you could like separate completely. Is that this one? Go like across the map from each other and just work on different things if you want.
You can, yeah. You can separate and be like, hey, have fun. And when you pick stuff up, everyone gets it, so you don't need to worry about being right next to each other.
I love that.
Yeah, like you could progress your quests, I think, like separately if you decided or something like that, to your point.
I think so.
I think I read that, but like, it's almost like what you were describing though, right? Like how you can choose not to progress the story and stuff like that. But anyway, heard good things about that side. It reminded me, scoring in the sixes of, and I bring this up a lot, it's like, if you really get into the combat and maybe later game even, I don't know how it is like late game, but it could be a lot of fun. So I wouldn't write it off. I would like to try it out, but like I just don't have the time right now with all the games out there, so I don't think I'll have a chance. But it's
very very tough. Yeah, I think if this game came out at a different time, it would maybe even be getting slightly better reviews, because you're just surrounded by like industry breaking video games all year. So it's really really tough. But
saved it till January 8th of next year. It'll be a perfect time.
I have heard that the beginning of the game is pretty bland, and it is. It's that they don't do a great job of selling you on the game in the first few hours. It's pretty bland, but then it pops off and it's great. So I want to play more of it.
Yeah,
I think this week is a good time to play some more of it, because we're waiting on Armored Core 6.
Oh, when's that?
And Blasphemous 2. Armored Core is on the 25th. Yep.
What was the other one you mentioned?
Blasphemous 2.
When's that one come out?
The day before.
Blasphemous got me. That was one of those games that just hooked me.
That's a good game.
And it was hard, but it was worth trudging on. It was hard though.
Oh yeah,
it's really good. I think I'll play it for a day, just because I want to play it.
Yeah.
And just to see where it's at. And then hey, maybe I'll mix Armored Core and Blasphemous. We'll see. But I do want to experience a little bit of it at least, because the first one was so good.
Yeah.
So good.
I feel like I played the demo. Yeah, that's what it was. And then I was like, I need to play this. It never happened.
Oh, just like
No, that's you. That's on you.
Speaking of Atlas Fallen, Lords of the Fallen. So last week when we talked about Lords of the Fallen, Fran, you were like, when are these people going to get their hands on it? We need some impressions.
I know.
And then right after that. People played. Some people played like a month ago at EU TwitchCon, and I assume they were just waiting until all of the IGN first was going on and just to keep the ball rolling of hype. But people have played it. They played about 2 to 3 hours of the game, and everything that I've heard is people being super happy and excited.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
And the audio, which is what most people brought up as being like, yeah, this audio is a little not great at times. The developers did specifically talk on that and say that they're going to be putting in a lot of work before it launches to make it better. So I was like, you've hit the one thing that concerned me. Everyone else who played it said that they're really excited about it. So now I am all on board for Lords of the Fallen.
Yeah, it was crazy that I was like, no hands on yet. And then I was like, maybe I'm being too old school about this because it doesn't happen sometimes till like weeks before, month before now. But this was great to see. That shows confidence. And yeah, like I saw some quotes that I had pulled from IGN, GameSpot, Fextra Life. IGN's Mitchell Saltzman had said there's a great fluidity to the combat.
That's good.
GameSpot's Michael Hyam said familiarity is a term that they'd use, and goes on to say music to the ears of those looking for the closest possible thing to another Dark Souls. Because reservations and all, Lords of the Fallen seems to be doing that kind of game really, really well. 2 reallys in there.
Yeah,
and Fextra, and I watched a little bit of that YouTube video. I'm not sure who was the author. I didn't have time to find that, or I'm not sure if they put it in there. But anyway, said combat feels really good. It's very responsive. It's probably some of the closest you'll have to the Souls games, but it's not as good. But they sort of expanded on that, saying like, it's hard to be as good as Souls, but it's actually solid. So I was surprised.
Got me excited.
I was surprised. Yeah. It went because this was the exact conversation we had. How does it really feel? And people seem to be like, it actually is kind of feeling like Souls.
Yeah. And I heard some people saying that in the 2 hours that they played, they got 25 like weapons and armor sets. So like there are so many weapons and armor. And I was like, the armor looks incredible in this game. That. So I'm very, very, very excited about this now.
And that's October
13th.
Oh yeah, Friday the 13th. That's right.
Yep.
This is kind of a crazy release window we're in. Like it is. There's so many like banger games. Watts, you were just mentioned Baldur's Gate 3 came out. There's just in August. I brought up the list because I just wanted to like see how many of these games are coming out. And there's I'm on the Game Informer website, and there's got to be 30 games here, and I want to play at least 10 of them. Blasphemous 2, Armored Core. There's a new Samba de Amigo game. That's weird. That's awesome, but cool. There's a new seeing a trailer game for that.
Oh, nice.
There's Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. That's like a spiritual follow-up to Jet Set Radio. Or Jet Grind Radio, depending on where you're from.
So many good things.
Yeah, Blasphemous 2.
Absolutely insane.
Unpacking is coming to iOS. That's a good game.
News today came out that AC Mirage got its date pushed up. It's coming out sooner than they said. So it's coming out.
Assassin's Creed. Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah,
I mean they flagged it
October 5th.
Gone gold, which means ready for printing and whatnot. So it's wrapped. So yeah, it seems like they're like it's good.
Is that
We're
the
a little
one
ahead
for
of
the
schedule,
phone, or is that like the real?
That's the full. Yeah,
that's the full game.
Okay, and this is gonna be like a step back from their like open world stuff. It's gonna be more like their original Assassin's Creed games. Like
it is. Yep.
Seems that way.
It's interesting. Has there been any gameplay released on it yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I like Assassin's Creed games mostly.
I think it's. I'm trying to read. I think it might be set in Baghdad.
Okay.
9th century Baghdad. So yeah, I mean, it really does harken back to the originals.
It does. Yeah.
It really appealed to me actually, and it's funny because it was only out of time. Like I know that I would love Valhalla and Origins, and I was just like, I can't right now. But I could get down with some missions in Mirage, so we'll see.
I loved Origins, and I loved Odyssey even more, but I could not get into Valhalla at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was it the setting, or
might have been
gameplay?
It was just real slow going. It felt like it was just, and it wasn't just like you weren't exploring ancient Greece; you were exploring forests. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's 2 Smurfs games coming out this year. You guys know that?
Smurfs games?
Briar
Really?
with the hard-hitting release date news.
Oh. It's interesting. Smurfs 2, Prisoner of Greenstone, coming out for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. I didn't know there was a Smurfs 1.
I didn't know there were any new Smurf games coming out.
Kart racing.
God dang, there are too many games. Who's buying these games? That there's all these amazing games. I mean, it might be great kids games, but
yeah, I didn't know the Smurfs property, like intellectual property, was that hot right now that it deserved 2 games in 1 year.
I mean, get ready for the next Smurf movie. It'll be done in the style of the new Barbie movie.
I'm into that. I'm watching that.
Who would play the character? They would be all like painted blue, though. It would be a little bit horrifying. There was a 2011, 2013, and 2017 movie. Whether or not they all went straight to home video, I don't know. Anyway, there's a lot of huge games coming.
There's a lot of huge things.
Super Mario Brothers Wonder is October 20th.
Right, there's a new Super Mario Brothers game coming out.
Yeah, and then the remake of RPG as well in mid-November.
Good luck if you like lots of different types of games. Even if you like one specific type of game. Like this year has been crazy for Souls-like games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
The Last Faith.
Yeah, maybe. I thought you wanted to segment it.
I do want to talk about it because it's an indie game, and not only is it's an indie game, but it's a game that people have been waiting for a long time. This game has been kind of bombing around for a while. It's called The Last Faith. It's by Kumi Souls Games. This is their first ever game, and it's being published by PlayStack. But this is kind of your typical dark gothic fusion of Metroidvania and Souls-like. But I think it's the visuals that really captured people. Like the visuals are so good and the animations are so good. And they currently have a beta registration sign up. And I think this is going to be playable. I think it's the 23rd of this month, I think. So that's coming up pretty soon. So if you do want to play it, sign up to play the beta, because I certainly will be doing it. And apparently it's launching in October, which is a very tricky window once again. But hopefully they can slip it in there where it's not
sick.
Crazy. You're right. Yeah, it looks really good.
So this was
it looks like Castlevania Dark Souls.
Yeah. I don't know if it was a Kickstarter.
I'm on the Kickstarter website. When I looked for video,
it
brought me straight to the Kickstarter website.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, it's a beautiful 2D game. It looks like almost like the DS Castlevanias. Like a really nice animation and artwork. Really cool.
And it's supposed to have a huge range of weapons, firearms, all that stuff. And I think that's what really grabbed people is they saw the visuals. I saw the visuals and I was like, putting it on the wish list right away.
Yeah. They're doing a physical.
They're doing physical too, Brian. There he is. He's already signed up. Can I still kickstart it? Yeah,
I hope I get to play the beta because I want to check it out. I want to see how it feels because everything that I've seen about it looks great. And I was talking about it recently because IGN put out a gameplay of a boss, and that was the first kind of full boss we've seen, I think. So
looks
very exciting.
I like that they say that it's coming to PlayStation and Xbox, but I can't determine if that means both
right away,
older and new gen.
Oh, I see.
Well, I'm wondering which portion of those platforms. Maybe both. Maybe that's what that means. But all good. I mean, it is coming to the platform, all the platform ecosystems.
Yeah. A lot of times they like these games, they'll just do like a PlayStation 4 version that works on your PlayStation 5 and same on Xbox because
that's a good point.
It needs the power of the newest hardware.
Right. And I guess that stuff sometimes it has to be like certified and go through all that. So sometimes they can't say until it gets,
Yeah. Oh, okay. So on IGN's YouTube, it does say PlayStation 5 and Xbox 4.
Xbox. Did you say
So
Xbox
next
4?
gen stuff.
Yeah.
Not
the current
old gen.
Xbox. There was the 1, the 2, the 3,
Xbox
and the 4.
Don't
2019.
just put a year on it. We had this discussion. The
2020?
Xbox. Yeah.
It's
The
hard to
Xbox
remember
2020.
years, but I know that this is the 4th Xbox.
Everybody needs to adapt. You can say the full name you want, but you have to say the year from now on that it came out. Make everybody's life easier.
I may be incorrect about the beta date because it said that they're going to announce the exact time on the future game show, which is August 23rd. So they could be like, it's out now. You can play it right now the second. But I didn't even know the future game show was happening August 23rd.
Yes.
I want to watch that.
That full weekend period is Gamescom. So
It is Gamescom. Yeah, you're right. Because I saw that you have the Destiny showcase, and then
Right
the
before.
Destiny season launches, and then an hour after that, Gamescom night opening live thing is happening, which they did actually. Jeff Keighley teased that they're going to be having Black Myth Wukong on the stage for opening night live. You don't know Black Myth Wukong?
That was that Unreal Engine 5 looking
where you play as Wukong.
Soulsy.
Yeah.
It was one of the first like really good looking
everyone
Unreal Engine
lost
5 games last year.
Their mind.
Because we hadn't
Eric's
seen much.
Especially.
Yeah.
Eric's. Yeah.
You'd recognize if you saw it. Yeah, there was like actually, yeah, there was that big like furry snow monster. Yeah, that's all I remember.
And then you're playing as a
lot
monkey
of
man.
Spinny blades. Oh yeah, you're a monkey man.
Based on the Journey to the West.
Wukong. It's based on Wukong.
I don't know,
the story of Wukong, the monkey man.
Yeah, man.
The
Story
monkey.
of King Kong. Pay attention. It's not King Kong, everybody.
I just like
if
King
you
Kong.
weren't paying attention. I was joking. Do like me a King Kong game.
So
yeah, that's exciting.
This game has been like around for a long time. It's got so long that people have gotten to the point where they're like, is this game actually gonna come out?
Oh yeah, I do remember this game now. It looks awesome.
Yeah. So the fact that they're showing up at opening night live Gamescom, I'm hoping we get some date.
Yeah. I mean, I think that with any luck, there should be some bigger stuff than that there as well. I mean, not necessarily at opening night, but just period at the show. I would think some, especially with a lot of European devs, it's a good time to like talk about a few teasers for 2024. Like I always think about this because I saw Witcher 1 like before almost anybody else out there. I remember going to the original German games conventions. But anyway, I was like thinking about the remake. I was like, I don't think they've shown like the remake yet. I don't know if we'll see the Witcher remake anytime soon, but stuff like that could show up.
I'm excited to watch it. I love watching that stuff, like the Game Awards and opening night live stuff. Places where you have a lot of trailers all in one place and a lot of news. It's just so exciting to sit there and see world premiere. You're like, what is it?
It's
the best.
It's
really, really fun.
Yeah, that's gonna be it's gonna be a fun week.
God, YouTube is unusable unless you pay for YouTube Red. It is unbelievable. I'm using the DCP YouTube account right now, and it's just ad after ad.
You got to get that premium on the account,
Yeah, well, nobody uses it to watch anything. It's more just to post stuff.
Oh man, what else?
Well, we did have the THQ Nordic. I can take you through the things that were announced.
Yeah.
There was a new South Park game, Snow Day. It's a new 3D game coming next year.
4-player co-op.
Yes, co-op multiplayer game coming to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series XS. We're really seeing the PS4 and stuff getting cut off.
Thank God.
At this
Darning.
point. Yeah, they're cutting it off. Gothic 1 remake. Any Gothic 1 fans? All right, move on.
I know the name and I can't like place it. Gothic 1. I'm
it's
looking
a
at
fantasy
it on Steam
world.
Right
no release date.
I don't remember. Remember the name. I don't think I ever played it.
Titan Quest 2.
Oh yeah.
No, that's coming out.
Wait, they didn't, there wasn't already a Titan Quest 2?
No, there was. Oh no, wait, you're right. There's
No,
not.
I don't think so. It's officially in development. Sequel to Iron Lore's 2006 game. Titan Quest 2 is being developed by Grimlore Games, a studio best known for developing Spellforce 3. We're gonna... next, Alone in the Dark.
There you go.
Alone in
soon, right?
Alone in the Dark. It doesn't have the date here. This was just a second trailer highlighting the second playable character, because you're going to be able to do 2 playable characters.
I see Steam listing it as late October of this year. But
this next one, Fran, I want to see you playing. And that is Last Train Home.
Is this like a train simulator?
It's an RTS. You command soldiers and try to make their way home on a train while fending off enemies as a result of an ongoing civil war. It actually sounds pretty fun.
I usually like the
I would play
fantasy
this
a
on
bit
Steam
more,
Deck.
but yeah.
I'd play it on Steam Deck.
Just because there's a train in it, I'm good. Any like automobile game now.
And a vehicle.
Oh, Snow Train. I get it. Ever since I played Snow Runner, any weather plus a car or automobile or some mobile of some kind.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was gonna be like a cozy train game. It's totally like a Civil War, like real-time strategy game. I'm like, that will stress me out so much.
What was that movie about the train that was like going around the world and like the world had frozen? Was it called like Ice Train or something like that? Icebreaker. Icebreaker. I can't remember.
I'm googling Icebreaker train. Snowpiercer?
Snowpiercer. There it is.
Is that what it is? Really?
Right there. Icebreaker, Snowpiercer. Same thing.
Yeah, it's a 2013 film. I have no recollection of that.
It was very weird.
There was also Outcast: A New Beginning that was shown. I think that's a new one, right?
Is it spelled with a K?
No.
Ouch,
this is a third-person open-world shooter where you're exploring an alien world to fight your way through fast-paced battles against invading robot forces.
Okay.
It is an action-adventure sequel to the 1999 cult classic. I did not play that game.
I never heard of it.
So this is 20 years after the award-winning action-adventure hit Outcast, which pioneered the genre of non-linear open-world games. So they're finally doing a sequel to it. And it is the original team behind Outcast 1. So that's pretty cool.
Wait, so did you say, what's the full name of this game again?
Outcast: A New Beginning.
New Beginning.
New Beginning. And they do have some gameplay and stuff as well that they launched with. So you can check out what the game actually looks like.
Yeah. It's all right.
Could be cool. Could be cool. Really hard to say. So hard to say with open world games if they will keep my attention or not.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like they got a few things over there at THQ Nordic.
Tempest Rising is another one.
Were these guys? They weren't one of the teams bought by the Embracer Group, were they? THQ.
I can't remember. That's a really good question.
I don't know.
Look it up. You might be right.
If they were,
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Embracer Group is having some real financial issues, and I think they announced some layoffs, right?
Yeah, because of that, like, multi-billion-dollar deal that they had been moving towards that fell through.
Yeah.
And that was the start of it. And yeah, there was some new reporting today of like what the source of that reportedly is. Is that what you're referencing?
Yeah. Well, no. Well, they had announced layoffs, right? They had announced.
Just a coincidence.
Yeah. No, it's not a coincidence. I did see this article.
Okay.
Like last week, they had announced layoffs, and like the week before that, they had announced that this big partnership had fallen through, and it was pretty depressing. But it seemed like that must be their end game because they were just buying everything, right? This Embracer Group was just literally sucking up every company they could get.
That's right. Yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, they own what? The Tomb Raider franchise and Crystal Dynamics now? Is that right?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. So they have a lot of, sub companies and big stuff in the portfolio.
And while it was happening, people were concerned, like how many companies, like does one company need to because if something goes wrong, which is where we're at now, like what happens to all these companies and all these IPs and all these people that now work for this like huge megacorp? And it seems like their only goal was to just like make a payday like this, a big payday.
It always is though. Yeah, I mean, any group like this, I mean, it is exactly that, right? They're gonna try to get a portfolio that is super appealing, and make as much money as possible. But then they ultimately, they're happy to sell and resell groups and franchises and stuff for more profit. Is very common for sure. So I don't think it would surprise any of the companies, that signed on to be part of it. But yeah, I think to your point, it's the bigger they are, the harder they fall. So then plodding along with like high confidence on a $2 billion deal or whatever here, and then that walked away, and they lose a bunch of confidence, and they have to like reset their course again, And then there you go. Suddenly it's layoffs. But that's just business for them, and
yeah.
But yeah, that affects real people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the danger. Right? It's interesting that I'm sure there's.
I never liked that.
Yeah, there's plenty of indies who are like, I've lived that life. I don't want to do that anymore. That's why I run this small indie studio, and that's
right.
The difference. But that's multi-billion-dollar game industry.
The good, happy news of the showcase is Briar. I think you might like this game.
Okay.
It's called Recreation. Very funny. Wreck as in a car wreck.
Okay.
Creation.
I'm already kind of sold, actually.
It's an
RECK.
Yes, and then Reation.
Oh,
it is an upcoming
dope.
arcade-style racing game. You'll drive and help craft an open world called Mix World, where you'll create, race, and wreak havoc across the setting with an option to play solo or with friends.
I am 100% into this. This looks amazing.
This reminds me of, do you remember that game Stunt Race FX?
Yes.
One of the first. Yes, Brian, I knew you would.
Yeah.
A super old Windows, like 95 game or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would build like these polygonal loop tracks. And I mean, obviously the physics and everything were just terrible then. But it reminds me a little of like, because you're building all these loops and stuff on the course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that immediately grabbed me. I was like, that looks like total fun.
Yeah.
That was one of the funnest parts about that game, was to start a loop, and then you would just not finish it, and you'd go like flying and crashing.
Into nowhere.
Yeah. But that was great.
This looks like a combination of like Hot Wheels, like remember like building those Hot Wheels with big orange tracks?
Absolutely.
And like, but also the cars are kind of like Hot Wheels-esque. But also, what were those old Nintendo driving games called? Like the N64 era, but more, they're really popular in the arcade. Damn. What were those called?
Trackmania.
No, they were really popular in the arcade.
This is Three Fields Entertainment.
Yeah.
Which just occurred to me as I was looking at the library. I was like, Dangerous Golf. That's from one of the original creators
these guys
of
made
Burnout.
Golf?
Yes.
Oh, this came up from the guys who made Burnout.
Well, some ex folks had gone years after and started this studio. Yeah, which I'm trying to see if they're still there. But yeah, Dangerous Golf. Alex Ward was the name I was thinking of from originally. What was the studio's name before they renamed the Burnout team? But anyway, it has some of those roots. So interesting to see him, still in the car destruction, explosive maybe area. So that's
Cruising
interesting.
USA is the game I was trying to think of.
Cruising USA?
Cruising USA.
Yeah. Remember those games? The Cruising Exotic,
Cruising World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This game looks amazing. It looks hella fun, and I'm definitely buying it.
Just a fun game, right?
Just a
fun game. I don't think so. It just says coming soon. And then in the announcement, they didn't say. Looks fun.
I like the cars. So you can have like a Lamborghini or like a Nissan Sentra, like a 1982 Nissan Sentra.
Yeah, so actually that's okay. I see that their Twitter last year had linked to. They had teased a little bit of this at Gamescom last year, so we'll probably see more. But yeah, that guy I was talking about, Alex Ward, is still there. And yeah, what I can say of actually knowing Alex pretty well, I haven't talked to him in a long time, is at the core of like his philosophies is always the fun, like that's what made Burnout so much fun. It took itself kind of seriously with some of the racing stuff, but just really always was focusing on being like chaotic fun. So this could be a neat game. Interesting find.
Yeah,
recreation.
Yeah, it's like open world
Good
too.
stuff.
That's what they say. Yeah,
neat. Well, I'm now interested in adding that to my little wish list.
And then I'll just let you guys know about one other game they had, because they do have signups for a closed beta, and that is Space for Sale. And Space for Sale, it looks really cute. It's a simulation strategy, colony sim, sandbox game where you are an intergalactic property developer on a mission to build habitats for eccentric alien clients. So I would like to try it out. I really like the visuals of it. I think the visuals look so good. The animations
grounded
look great.
looking, huh?
Kind of, yeah.
This looks cool too.
Right? It looks fun.
Good job.
I want to try it out. Yeah, man. THQ, honestly, they really just had a lot of games that are just like, here are fun games that we're making because they're fun.
That's what I'm here
it's
for.
very,
yeah,
it's
fun.
Yeah.
It's like just a slightly more developed indie vibe to me,
Yes.
Like, it still is indie, I think, but there's a little more, I think budget behind some of this stuff and experience, obviously. So yeah, this stuff's looking good.
Yeah, this game does look good.
All the names, you'd listen and as you list through this, I'm like, what? Some of these were old remakes, and then now we hit on a few that are like, oh, this looks like a neat new title based on just its own new creativity,
Yep.
Space for Sale. They originally did some game called Little Big Workshop, which I don't remember. But that's what I'm seeing. Cool.
Oh man,
these are neat.
Good time to be a gamer.
It's always
good
a good time, right?
Need to increase.
It
my
always is a
streaming
good
hours.
time.
So many games.
I've been streaming like anytime a new game comes out, because they normally come out on Fridays. I've been then just streaming all weekend, just not taking a day off, which is definitely going to happen with like the new Destiny season and then Armored Core right after that.
So many good things. Yeah, next week the new Destiny showcase, like you said, will be huge in our community
day is that?
here.
Is that Wednesday?
22nd.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
They have the showcase and then the new season right after.
And
then right after that, the Gamescom stuff.
Yeah.
So
busy. Good time though. I was gonna say, Briar, can I bring up that Overwatch stuff?
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, I know we're running a little long here, but big topic and big drama. But good news in there too. But Overwatch 2 finally released its PvE content, which they had, as you might recall, canceled as like a full product. And everybody's like, but now we're 6 months later or whatever it is. And the results are like, okay, clearly they're like splitting up and trying to develop around that stuff. It's a $15 release as part of Season 6. That is separate from the Season Pass model stuff, which is for multiplayer, which is like a $10 Season Pass. If you recall, you can grind for new heroes. Each season is generally what's in there. And of course, all the other vanity items and goodies. But again, this is PvE content. I have not played it yet. So that's interesting. It just came out. And along with it, Overwatch 2 hit Steam as the worst rated game in the history of Steam. Now, how did that happen?
How did that?
Because Overwatch 2 at its core is actually pretty solid.
Yeah.
So there's actually a thing that I saw a thread that was very interesting from Daniel Ahmed on Twitter, who said that Overwatch 2 currently has 100,000 reviews on Steam, which 91% are negative. However, nearly 2/3 of those reviews, 63,000, are written in Chinese, with 97% of them being negative. So this whole thread, it's pretty long. It's very interesting. But the kind of TLDR is that this is the first time, because it's on Steam, that Chinese players have actually had a wide open forum to express their thoughts about Overwatch. So I found that really interesting, because that's way over half of these reviews are coming from the Chinese players.
Yeah, like they can't play it anymore locally, as I understand. And that started earlier this year, and that's what Daniel was pointing out. that quite a few, now granted, there's still 25% of those reviews or more that are still English speaking. And again, you sort of assume where people live based on this, but that are still negative. Well, but quite a few, because again, we're sort of rounding up of most of the reviews are negative. 90% of the reviews are negative. It's a thumbs down, thumb up process. You got to remember that. When you see the percentage, it's not like someone rated it a number. But anyway, clearly it getting review bombed, because I think Daniel's right about that there's a lot of frustrated regional fans in China that don't have a regional server, and like they can't even play it, and like Steam provides a new place to vent. But fans have been upset about the Overwatch 2 number. They were mad about it feeling like they re-released it after all this time and shut down for a while, some of the support for Overwatch 1, and then it came out and they're like, well, it's roughly the same, but it's also different. It's just like angry. But I did a Twitter thread on this that was covering this stuff, but also ended in sort of pointing out it is still some of the most watched and most played Overwatch right now, period. That includes the first Overwatch. Like, it's performing well. It's one of the top 50 Steam games. So again, the review bombing is coming from a number of reasons and frustrated fans, and the PvE content, we'll see what the reception is. But it was really interesting to see, unfortunately, yet again, a case of review bombing, just because people are upset about not the gameplay necessarily.
It's the whole, like, you made Overwatch 2 because you were doing PvE. It's like a whole new thing. Like, they were saying that you could be a PvE only player, and this could be the only game you play. Like, that's the level that they were talking about. And now they kind of have just released these little PvE missions, which I did watch a video of a review of those missions, and they said the cutscenes are incredible, but there's not a whole lot of playtime in those missions. And they're not super exciting.
Well, I'm going to play it for sure. So
I'd like
if we
to
have
hear
a show
your
next
thoughts.
week, I'll definitely be talking about it. I'm a big fan of the franchise in general. I can't keep up with it, so I play it, similar, like we were talking about Halo's new season. Watts on Twitter, we had a brief exchange. But like, I always have fun, hop in, few hours. I actually played one game to make sure that the game wasn't broken. I didn't play it on Steam, but I was like, did I miss something with season 6? And I was like, no, I had a lot of fun hopping in and out. It's just such a high polished PvP experience, but didn't check out the PvE content, which again is $15 separate, 3 missions, I believe. But I'll be very interested to see the amount of content. And what's really interesting? I don't think I was on the show back then when I was ranting about this, but I was like, oh man, I went on a big rant about I really just wanted PvE Overwatch to be a big thing. It looks so cool. And to be fair, they are still doing some of it in different ways. But I was like, man, I will pay you. I remember I said those exact words. I will pay you for like chapter, seasonal release stuff. Like, just keep, just do it and give it to me and I will pay for it. So now I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and see, like, is it delivering? Granted, it's the first release and maybe kind of piecemealed off from what it was, but still, it's going to maybe have that exact model, like $15. Was I happy? Will I support it and be happy with it? So we'll see. It's going to be really, really cool to check out. So
yeah, people are upset.
Yep.
People are upset about a bunch of things about PBS. People, honestly, there has been a very large negative sentiment towards developers in general recently. It seems to be getting worse and worse. I'm sure it's got to be something to do with the fact that negativity gets more clicks, right? So if you have everyone just like, you have channels dedicated to saying this game sucks, this thing sucks, this thing sucks. So of course it's going to rile people up in a negative way. I think we're kind of losing a bit of nuance in conversations. It's just all game devs are evil.
Yeah, everything's click drama. I mean, you're right, and it's hard to get through the other side of the narrative. Just like, this game's really fun because like that, it's not reactionary for people, and all of YouTube is reactionary. A lot of negative stuff that works, unfortunately. I mean, that's how humans work, apparently. So, but
people love drama and gossip.
That's why I brought it up. Leave us some comments if you have reacted to the Overwatch stuff or anything else.
In fairness, I do understand why people are upset with Overwatch. Like, the whole
I get it. I get it.
The whole point was, or from what I understood, the whole point of Overwatch 2 was to like transition to this partially PvE game, and they just kind of like abandoned that, and it was
But see, to be fair though, they released some PvE content, and not in the way that they originally said though.
Yeah.
So it's like I was as devastated as well from like again, I was ready to pay a $60 fee or whatever it was going to be on top of it's a free-to-play game that I've already invested my time in, but I was like, cool, I'm down for that. And then I was more bummed because I wanted something bigger, but I'm not going to be mad that they're still working on it.
Yeah.
And to their credit, they said, hey, we're falling away from, not verbatim this, but that we're falling away from being able to support PvP, the core of this content and that community in the way that is important. This is the basic. So we have to refocus the team on getting this stuff out, hitting the pace, and we can't just, in the way that really games have been developed for many, many years when they're PvE. I mean, they could take, as you're seeing, 5-6 years, and it's a huge bet, and it's taking away from what Overwatch 2 as just a core experience was. And so they wanted to address that.
Yeah.
So I mean, their heart's in the right place as much as we're bummed. So for me, I would love to see, like, let's say this is every, I don't know, 6 months we get this quality of PvE content in Overwatch. I'm curious to see what it is, and I'm down. We'll see.
Yeah. No, it's like there's absolutely reasons for genuine critique and feedback. I think it's when it goes to, and this isn't just about Overwatch, this is about what people are saying about game devs in general. It's when it veers into just anger and saying that all devs suck because one dev said something on Twitter, so therefore the entire studio is stupid and lazy, or it just seems like there's a lot of grouping of developers as this group instead of thinking about it as individual, not even as individual companies, let alone individual people.
Yeah.
But your feedback is always needed. Like, giving feedback is encouraged, is a good thing. It helps, absolutely.
When it's constructive.
Yes.
Write a letter.
And it's not reductive and like exactly like you're saying, Watts. Like it's just the internet, but unfortunately it's like one-liners. I mean, we know in the Destiny community, you guys have talked about it up and down, and there's reasons to complain, but it's like fans love the game so much that this game is now trash. I'm quitting. And it's like that's not true for most people, but they are that upset, and they have reasons to be upset. Like Briar's rightful to be upset about what he expected for that they promised, but what I always draw back to, I'm like, but how is the game at its core? And I think ultimately in Overwatch 2's case, we want more good stuff, and I think Overwatch 2 has a great base, so I'm excited. And same for Destiny. Let's see how that showcase gets us hyped. They got all the negative stuff out of the way.
It is a big moment. I'll always say, like, giving your critique and feedback is good, but maybe we don't need to respond to someone posting about them going to a wedding and being like, fix your game,
Yeah,
like
exactly. But I brought that up because I saw a really interesting poll. I think Lucky had done it or something like that, but it was like, if you only had one game for the rest of your life or something, and just threw down a few. But it was funny to look at that and realize that is part of what, people have latched on to games like Destiny and maybe even Overwatch are so replayable, that you want to keep playing it ultimately because it is replayable. And a lot of these other games don't have that. It's a nice problem to have. That's my point. So anyway.
Yeah.
We'll see what's next.
Exciting times. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play video games and enjoy them. And if I don't enjoy them, I'm going to say, hey, here's what I don't like. And I'm going to go play something I do like.
I'm going to post this podcast and then play
I like fun.
Injustice.
Pikmin.
Gods Among Us.
Pikmin 4. I know you own it because you already told me.
It's still sitting on the counter. It's sitting on the kitchen counter.
2 hours. You just got to get past the tutorial stuff. Telling you, and then you can like pop in one day at a time. That's the best part about it. It's like I just did one day. That's like 15 minutes. Then you're done. It's easy, man. But you got to get the first few hours out of the way. He's not gonna do it.
I hate that. I'm probably not. I probably really want to play Baldur's Gate too. Like Baldur's Gate, man, it's getting some incredible love.
Same. Mm-hmm. I'll never finish Pikmin, to be honest. Unless I need to fly. I'm enjoying it, but I'm only playing it when I'm flying. So maybe on the way to TwitchCon for the next one.
Should we wrap this one up?
Let's do it.
All right.
Next week's going to be, wait, no. Everything happens the day after we do the podcast.
Well, we'll tell you what's about to happen.
We'll do our predictions. We can do a fun little prediction-roonies.
Okay.
They can watch DCP live after that next Thursday.
That's true.
You can watch it on Thursday.
For your reactions.
All right. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next week. Have a wonderful week. Bye.
Bye.